Today we're going to talk about something that's, well, it's never easy, but unfortunately it's often necessary, and that is having to sell a home after you've had a death in the family. Now, believe me, I know this is a very sensitive topic, and chances are, if you're watching this, you're probably navigating a very tough time if you're going through something like this. So first, please, let me just say I am so sincerely sorry for your loss. Losing a loved one, well, it's one of life's hardest moments. And then you add the responsibility of having to try to sell a home on top of that. Well, it is so overwhelming. And I personally know this because I've been there when I was watching my mom go through all of the situation when my dad died at the age of 43 with cancer. So I know how gut-wrenching it is, first of all, to have to make the decision whether to sell the house or not, the house that you've shared with the person that you love. And secondly, you have to go through all of the personal things, the belongings that your loved one had, and you try to, I don't know how to say it, maybe disconnect from the memories that you made with your loved one in that home while you are trying to get the house ready for sale. And listen, I understand that not everyone has good experiences with the person that they lost. So whether you had a very close and a loving relationship with the person you lost, or maybe even a very complicated, not so loving relationship with that person, needing to sell a home after their passing is a really tough experience for anyone in any situation. And you can believe that I am praying that you don't have to go through this alone, because I believe that with the right steps, you can make this process as smooth and stress-free as possible, that is. So let's start with the heart of the matter, because a home isn't just a building, right? It's memories, maybe laughter that you've shared. It's certainly family dinners and holiday mornings. So when it comes time to sell a home after a loved one has passed, it's not just a transaction, it's really a transition in your life, and a huge transition. And that's why it's so important, people, to approach this process with care and compassion. And of course, you need a clear plan. So here's step one. You really need to understand the legal process. So before you can even think about putting the home on the market, you've got to make sure that you have the legal authority to sell it. Now this usually, and I say usually, but it usually means going through probate, which is the legal process of settling the estate. Now, there are ways to avoid going through probate, and we are going to discuss that on another video. And that video is going to give you some other options that you can discuss with your family members before you lose a loved one. And of course, the purpose of that is to avoid that probate process. So make sure you subscribe to this channel so that you're alerted when that video is available. Now, if your loved one left a will, it's going to name an executor who's responsible for handling the sale of the property. Again, if there is no will, then of course the court is going to appoint someone. So either way, this is where a really good attorney can be your best friend, because that attorney is going to help you navigate the paperwork and make sure everything is done by the book, because you don't want to be held up in court when you're trying to sell your loved one's home. And especially if you're in a market where the prices are still pretty good, you want to try to get the best price that you can for that house. So you don't want the process to be slowed up because you have to go through all of the court process and understand all of the paperwork needed for you, the executor, to get the home on the market and sell it. And there are a lot of things to think about. I'll give you an idea. I've been through this with several of my clients. And unfortunately, here in Florida, we have an older population. And when that older population passes away, Often loved ones are left to deal with what do we do with the house. And of course, most people, they have their own life somewhere else. They just want to sell the house because, none of them can live in it or whatever. But here, what I've experienced is that people, if they have all of their affairs in order, and again, they don't have to go through probate or whatever, maybe the remaining spouse or the children, if they're selling that property, it can be really cumbersome. And of course, when you're sitting across the table from these people, it's hard to make decisions when you're so emotionally attached to all of, not just the house, but to the things that belong maybe to your parent or to your spouse, to your brother, your sibling, whatever it is. It's really hard to make those kind of decisions when you're just sitting there trying to get the house on the market. So again, this is where a really seasoned agent can sit down with you and say, hey, I've experienced this before with my other seller clients, and I found that this, and this is best. And in this situation, we need to get in touch with these people first, because you want to make it as smooth. You don't want any hiccups along the way. You've already got enough on your plate, right? You don't need to add any more stress or emotional weight to what you're already going through. Step 2, you need to assess the property. Now, this is where things really can get emotional. When you have to walk through the home, decide what to keep, maybe what to donate, and of course, what to let go of. That is not easy. Again, been there. Like I said, I watched my mom go through this back in 1989, and going through all of my dad's belongings. God, that was one of the most difficult things I ever saw my mom have to deal with. And believe me, my mom has had to deal with a lot of really difficult things her entire life. So my advice to you is you need to take your time. Please involve your family members in the process. Now, I remember doing that whole going through things while we were laughing, we were crying, while we were going through all of my dad's stuff. We were just remembering things. So don't be afraid to lean on your family members, and please don't be afraid to lean on professionals like, there are estate companies, estate sale companies. There are companies that help you declutter. By leaning on others who can help you sort through everything, you can really maybe lessen the strain of you having to be the only person to make all of the decisions at that one moment. Once the home is cleared out, you need to take a very good, hard look at the condition of the home. Does it need repairs? Does it need a few updates? Maybe a fresh coat of paint. Remember, the goal is to make that home as appealing to as many possible and potential buyers as you can. Step number 3, please choose the right real estate professional for your situation. Guys, let me tell you, this is not the time to go with your cousin's best friend's neighbor who just got their license. You really do need someone who is experienced in this, they're compassionate, and they're really skilled at handling sensitive sales like this. Now, a great agent is going to guide you through the pricing, through the marketing, through all of the negotiations, all while respecting the emotional weight of the situation. And of course, not to mention, like I said before, the paperwork that is needed when someone other than the owner is selling a property. So you might have to deal with lawyers or the court system and title issues. That's all really tough. So you need to choose wisely. Step number 4, pricing and marketing the house. Listen, guys, it is easy to let emotions influence the price that you set for that home. But here's the thing. Remember, the buyers do not see all of the memories that you created in that house. They only see the square footage, the location, and the condition of the home and what the other homes around it sold for. So that's why it's crucial that you rely on the market data that your agent brings you to set a realistic price. And when it comes to marketing, your agent is going to know how to highlight the home's best features, of course, while being sensitive to the history of the home. So once your home has gone under contract And of course, you've negotiated any inspection items, and you've gotten through any maybe buyer financing contingencies. You want to get your moving out plan in place, and you want to start as early as possible so that you're not trying to get everything out, plus get the house cleaned at the last minute. Again, a good real estate professional is going to help you navigate all of the timelines that are in your contract and help with any referrals that you may need along the way to help everything move towards the important date, and that is the closing date. Step 5, closing the sale. So this is the finish line, folks. But even here, there can be challenges, especially if there are multiple heirs involved. You know what I'm talking about. So communication is key. Make sure everyone is on the same page about the terms of the sale and, of course, how the proceeds are going to be allocated or divided. And if disagreements arise, and it happens a lot, that's where having a skilled mediator like your attorney and or your real estate agent, that can make all the difference. They'll help you mediate through all of that and be that spokesperson to talk to everyone individually and as a group. Now, I want to leave you with this. Selling a home after a death in the family isn't just about the property. It really is about honoring your loved one's legacy and taking the next step forward in your own life. Or it could also mean maybe letting go of painful memories that you had with that loved one so that you can heal and move on. And I'm not saying any of this is easy, because it's not, but it is possible, especially if you have the right support, you have the right plan, and of course you have the right mindset and the right professionals working alongside you for the best outcome. So if you are facing this situation, please know you are not alone. Please reach out to trusted professionals in your area, wherever you are. Lean on your support system, and you just got to really take it one step at a time, because you really can do this. If there's any other guidance you need, you know where to find me. I'm always going to be here to answer your questions. I'm Catherine Newman. Thanks for tuning in. And if any of you are actually going through a divorce, I know a lot of people said it feels like a death. I think it's a little different. I've been through a divorce. It's not fun, but if you're going through a divorce and you want to know the steps, what you should do in that situation, be sure to check out this video here where I talk about the divorce situation. So anyway, I'm Catherine. Thanks for tuning in. Please subscribe to this channel. I'll see you next time.